understand that that is actually going to be next week's show. We've already got 400 people registered for this event. So make sure you register for this event. It's going to be different from the normal Hidden Truth. We're coming with you with 2 barrels, 2 absolute barrels, shooting hardcore, my beautiful brothers and sisters. So, let's move on. Brothers and sisters, tonight is the main man. This is the man I want tonight. This is the man I wanted tonight. Landing back from Jamaica, something inside, someone inspired me. A frequency inspired me. It's got to be Leroy Logan. It's got to be Leroy Logan for this week's show. And brothers and sisters, who remembers this program?
Lord, may you protect your servant Leroy. Please keep him safe for his police training. Attention! And grant us the wisdom to accept his decision.
At least this way, Dad, I can change things. Get out of the house!
Out there, it is us and them. That's how it works.
Stop, police! I'm out there with no backup!
Sometimes I think the earth needs to be scorched. Replanted, so something good will come of it.
Brothers and sisters, can you please join in with me online in the chat room? Make some booyaka noise, Sabananani. Woo! Make some lick shot from Babylon noise for the man himself. I'm not even smiling, Leroy. You got to understand how I see you, my king. Brothers and sisters, this is the... And you know what? As I bring in this brother, when I watched that movie, I found out things I never knew about you. We're going to talk about some of that tonight, my big brother. But also, I knew that movie was just touching the surface, because I know when it ended, I was thinking, no, we need a part 2, 3, 4, and 5, because I know, I knew that you carried on that mission way beyond after that movie finished. Yeah. So, brother Leroy, the chat room is on fire. I'm going to say this before brother Leroy comes on, brothers and sisters. Please use the chat line for comments. If there's questions that you'd like us to pose to our beautiful king tonight, our special guest tonight, please put the questions in the Q&A. We've got Sister Jarita waiting in the wings. She's going to be looking at the Q&A questions. Please, all questions in the Q&A. All of your comments and your love and your feedback, put that in the chat room. Brother Leroy, forgive me for carrying on, King. How are you, my big brother?
I'm great, man. It's a real pleasure to join you. I mean, you are the only person that can call me straight off a plane and say, listen, turn up on Tuesday. And here I am. I'm loving the vibe. I'm loving all the energy. You've got a great selection of speakers, and the taster for next week, just shows the level in which you're pitching it, and the importance of education is the key, and doing for self. I just cannot applaud that anymore, and it's a real pleasure to be here. And in all honesty, you're assisting me to get over my jet lag, so it's great.
Oh, brother, we brother, I can say this now on behalf of the community, King. We honor you. We thank you. Sometimes people want to say these things when you're laid to rest. I don't want that to happen, brother. I want you to know right now, brother, and I know you've been on so many international platforms. I watched you on Hard Talk, which I'm going to talk about in a second, representing us like a warrior, like a king. But I want you to know, brother, on behalf of the conscious community and on behalf of the mainstream Black community, we love you, we honor you, we cherish you, and where I want to start this conversation is about 360 of us on the platform. I know more people will be coming on as time carries on. I also want to ask you a few questions, brother. Hopefully you can see that handsome picture. Brother, my first question to you, my king, is before we talk about your enrollment into the police force, please let us know a little bit about your father, brother.
Well, he's Jamaican man, born and bred. He came over with the Windrush generation, and my mother joined him in the early 50s. And I was born in Islington, London, where most of my time was spent in my education. But I was blessed with a short time in Jamaica. Between the age of 5 and 9, I had a time to live in Spanish Town.
Woo!
And yeah, it was a masterclass in identity, because that's when I knew where I came from, the heritage, you know, Marcus Garvey, taught in the schools. And so when I came back at the age of 9, which is 1966 for the World Cup, and all that energy, and I thought, you know, I felt so proud, and it played itself out in everything that I did. I wasn't going to be defined by any views of teachers or career advisors. I set my own path, and because I had the parents that nurtured and loved me in a way that I felt whatever I aspired to do, I can do. And especially seeing it in Jamaica, I saw Black teachers, Black prime ministers, Black doctors, Black police officers. So if I see it, I can do it. And I'm a person that's driven by a vision. And that vision was strong from my time in Jamaica. So I came back over with a superiority complex. I knew I could do what I needed to do. But I knew that there's certain things I had to do which could be seen as my worst nightmare. But as it says in my book, Closing Ranks, which I've got a copy here, just to support myself here.
No, brother, what we need from yourself, brother, even if you don't do it right now, because funny enough, we just had someone make a comment. Sister Doryl Haynes, I believe it is, just finished reading Leroy's book. I was blown away by his tenacity and resilience. Enough respect to the brother. So, brother, please, you're going to touch on the book, but please let us know where we can buy it today.
Well, it's on Amazon and all book outlets. I've got an Audible version. Yeah, I recorded that early in the year, and that's available on Amazon, and also on my website, leroylogan.com. You can go on there and purchase the book, but it's all over. It's on Kindle as well. In fact, I'm on a Amazon bestseller book. I've just been shortlisted for an award for an autobiography, the CRT award. So, you know, I for my first book, I'm over the moon. And, you know, just like you've seen the film is excellent. Steve McQueen did an amazing job, like the other episodes of the Small Axe series. And John Boyega played me with that real authentic truth. But the film is a taster. The main course is the book. The main course is the book. So please go out and support.
We will support you from tonight. You watch and see. One thing about this platform, Brother Leroy, we don't play. Believe me, we've got a phenomenal history of putting our money where our mouth is, brother. So that's why I asked you for the link. Sister Jurita, our beautiful queen, and Sister China, they will continuously throughout the night keep putting the link on the platform, and we'll support you financially today. Sorry, brother, carry on.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is, Closing Ranks is a labor of love. I started writing the book 10 years ago, and so actually 11 years ago, in 2010, before I retired from policing in 2013, because I wanted to own the narrative. There was too many people who didn't look like me were talking about what we did in the Black Police Association and what we had to come against in the hostile environment within the Met Police. But we knew that we had to stay strong, and that's why we set up the Black Police Association. in '94. And some of you might know I was one of the officers who gave evidence at the Macpherson inquiry to say that the Met Police was institutionally racist, and all of the pressure that we had to go through. But we came stronger. And it's in that arena I met you 20 odd years ago.
Absolutely.
You know, to say, listen, so we're there in solidarity with Macpherson and all the other things. So, you know, it's good to have long-term relationships where it defies logic. You know, some people think, oh, I'm not going to do anything with any Fed, you know, or whatever. Yeah. But we need to build relationships that give us that strategic springboard to make changes that we all want to see. We haven't got time for division. We've got to build bridges.
Come on.
And bridges have to be strong and sustainable. So that's what I'm about. And that's why I'm enjoying the love, because I know that will conquer all.
Brother Leroy, already Sister Christine John has just posted on the group. She's literally just purchased your book straight away on her Kindle, and that she's looking forward to reading it. So people are already logging onto your site and buying the book straight away, King. Brother Leroy, the reason why I asked you about your father as opposed to your mother, and we love your mother, obviously we know just pure love to your mother, is because from what, according to the film, something happened to your father that was the result of you changing the course of your life and joining the police. Can you just touch on that for us, please, brother?
Yeah, well, I did my education in Islington, where I grew up, besides that time in Spanish Town. And then I went to University of East London, got a science degree, and then I was working in the Royal Free
brother,
Hospital.
don't just say that quickly. Say that one more. No, brother, please. Say it for the people at the back. Say it one more time.
Well, I was blessed to get a degree in pharmacology and applied biology, a science degree. And as a result of that, my career was charted in the science world, and I secured a job. My first job that I applied for, I got it at the Royal Free Hospital, and that was an international teaching hospital. We were doing amazing clinical trials on so many different drugs, on chemotherapy and various other cutting edge pharmaceuticals. And as a result of that, the calling of policing really hit me. Local officers from Hampstead Police Station befriended me and asked me if I should join. And at the same time I was looking at applying, my father got beaten up by cops where we lived in Islington over a traffic matter. And he was a man in his late 50s. He wasn't your stereotypical troublemaker. He was a hardworking man, just like my mother, who created an amazing home for me and my sister. And I couldn't believe what they did to him. In fact, when I rushed from the Royal Free Hospital to the Whittington Hospital to see him literally black and blue. And in the film, you might think it was an exaggeration. He was literally beaten to a pulp. And because I actually walked past him, I didn't recognize him in the A&E. Yeah, because he was so badly beaten up. But, you know, I knew that somehow we have to stop these sort of beatings. And you've got to be in an organization to change it. You know, you can't steer a ship from the shore. You've got to be on board in the captain's cabin, steering the direction of the ship. And I know a lot of people say, well, you know, you're a traitor, you're a sellout. And even in the film, you know, they call John Boyega Judas, and you would say Officer Judas. Well, actually, it happened to me when I was in Islington, my first police station. I was called everything under the sun, but you know, I knew my calling was strong. It was a spiritual calling, and that's why the book is actually a spiritual journey of how I had to grapple through my worst nightmare being my biggest breakthrough. I knew I had to have a higher calling to make the changes that I wanted to see come together with the people that I needed to work with in the Black Police Association and certain allyship of white brothers and sisters. And, you know, we made changes that did make a change from within, and it's still sustainable today.
But brother, I've got to challenge you now, brother. Because what makes you so different, brother, because I'm going to keep it real talk with you. If someone beat up my father, the immediate reaction would be, I'm not ever going to be a part of you. In fact, I'm going to be burning fire upon you. What made you so different, brother, that made you look at it from another perspective where you say, you know what, I'm going to change. I'm going to actually go into this and make that change. What made you so different from the rest of us?
Well, I mean, as when you got a calling, you know, you have a vision, and I'm driven by visions. You know, I'm a person that if I can see it, I can do it. And because I had that strong calling just before my father got beaten up, and also one of the, which is seen in the film, one of the closest friends to me, Lee John of Imagination, his mother, Jessie Stevens, she's an amazing woman. She's a community activist from the 60s. She's still doing it now. She's in her 94th year, going into her 95th year. And, you know, she's a woman of real power. And she said, Leroy, don't think that you can make changes. We need people like you in the organization. And she really gave me the real clarity of what I needed to do and how I needed to do it. And as I said, my spiritual calling gave me that real strength to say, listen, even though it's my worst nightmare, it will be a breakthrough. I will see certain things. And even though, you know, I love my dad, he was my role model, my rock, just like my mother, I knew that he would recognize the strength of character and the strength of conviction in joining the police. And he did come around. And in fact, he sued the Met successfully. And, you know, I went with him to court in my full uniform. I was a sergeant at that time. And you know, just to show
Yes,
those
sir.
white officers that,
Yes,
listen, you picked on the wrong guy.
Whoa!
Yeah, you picked on the wrong guy. And I'm now going to be his armor bearer. I'm going to be his warrior to ensure that his legacy is not just how you beat him on the street and how you brutalized him, but his legacy is me and the other officers who are going to really shake things up, you know, because I've heard already, we need to be a pressure group. We need to be lobbying. We got to own our narrative. And that's why I'm so happy to see like-minded individuals on this webinar, really understanding the importance of the hour, especially now that, you know, Black Lives Matter and the things that they're doing, and, you know, how you're highlighting the sister who's still in a coma. You know, we need to really come in solidarity. This is not a time to be ramping around. This is a time to make changes from within, and, you know, keeping the positiveness, the relationship. Just like you and myself, we met 20 odd years ago, and we still, you know, it's like it happened yesterday. We still have that mutual respect, and that's what we need to be doing.
Brother Leroy, Sister Pauline, I can't see the surname. She said, yes, enjoyed all of the policeman balls. You were such a huge part of it. Give thanks, Leroy.
Yeah.
We've got people putting questions in the chat room. Please put your questions in the Q&A box. One brother, I think it's a brother, Israel Imani, says, I'm vice chair of the police and crime security panel. We're looking at disproportionately. I'm tasked to give the commissioner advice on how to bring a culture of fairness in the way of black people, in the way that black people are policed in the constabulary. Do you have any advice? Now, don't answer that question yet. Okay, but Israel, that's a fantastic question. Please put those questions, put all your questions in the Q&A box, not in the thing, because these are the questions we want to throw at our brother today. Brother, now, as you see, many of us grew up on Imagination. Is it true that this brother not only was your good friend back in the day, but are you two related?
No, we're not blood related.
Okay, is that back in the day? Yes, okay.
Yeah, but we always say we're brothers from another mother, you know, because especially since my parents have passed away, Aunt Jessie is like a mother to me. In fact, I was with her up to last night. I was with her up to last night, and we had some lovely fellowship. You know, she's always got wisdom. She's always got that real word in season. She's really got that word in season. Always giving me that wide view on life. And you know, God rest her soul. She's an amazing woman. I know she's gonna have long life. I'm sure we'll be celebrating 100th very soon in the next few years,
Yes.
because she's a stalwart. She's a powerhouse. And you know, I just want to honor that generation of her who came over in the Windrush generation, because we stand on their shoulders. We got to be honoring their legacy by the way in which they which showed such tenacity and determination. And that's what we have to build on. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, even in retirement, I'm still in public service. I'm still an activist and still an advocate. You know, I'm still supporting my Voyage. We helped set up 20 odd years ago.
Don't
really
touch
great.
on that yet, brother. Don't touch it. Come on, brother. You know we're going there. No need to go there.
Yeah. Well, I just want to pick up David Okoro because he's one of our main people.
All right. You're gonna sport the whole day now for me.
Oh,
That was no. Let's go there now, brother David. Are you there, brother David?
Yeah. Bring him in.
Bring him in, brother David. I'm sorry, brother. That you was my cherry on the cake today. The brother went there already, man. David, please, brother. You know, tell us, because you know, what's your connection to Voyage, and what would you like to say to Leroy directly online?
Yeah, first of all, I have to big up Leroy from the bottom of my heart, because once again, I talked about these heroes in our community who don't get the recognition that they deserve, and Leroy knows how I feel about them, because I've said this a million times, and you know, Leroy is a fantastic leader in our community. Even though I know he's given up the chair of Voyage and he's no longer involved in some of the organizations he was involved in, he's still a standard bearer for our liberation and also for the upliftment of our people, and in particular our young people. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Leroy now. Leroy, it must be 15, 16 years, you know, when I first met you with
That's
Voyage.
right. Yeah.
And I was totally inspired by the work that Voyage did and still does in our community. They have worked with thousands, man, of young people from north, south, east, and west. And that doesn't happen by accident. And it was interesting that Leroy talked about vision. It takes vision to create an organization that has that reach. And when I think of people like Leroy, who were part of the Met and part of the Black Police Association, Leroy probably can't talk about some of the stuff that the Met did to him and did to some of his colleagues on the side.
We're gonna go there, brother.
But you know, they were under so much pressure within the Met, and even I used to think, wow, how can these brothers and sisters work for an organization that treats them like this? But they had a vision, and people like Leroy had a vision, and they understood that in order to better protect our young people, somebody had, or our communities, somebody has to be a standard bearer and be at the vanguard of this thing. And that's what people like Leroy did. And they created Voyage, which, as I say, has helped and will help thousands of our young people by providing mentoring and also leadership courses, especially young leaders for safer cities. And I've been proud to be one of the people who've delivered that program for the last 15 years. And you know, now we have a really big focus on what's happening with our young people in terms of serious youth violence and so-called knife crime. Voyage was at the forefront of tackling that well before it became even fashionable within our community. They were at the forefront of tackling that by bringing young people together from all different communities and all different boroughs and educating them and getting them to love themselves and love each other. Just amazing, man. And our community owes people like Leroy a real debt of gratitude for the work that they've done.
What's happening right now, brothers and sisters who are listening? This is what we call a love factory. We are no, don't laugh, you two. I'm near to tears at this present time, because you know, brothers and sisters, you're witnessing love, and love. You know, I ain't said sex. I'm talking about love. We are literally engineering love on this platform tonight, and it's beautiful, beautiful. Sister Natalie, are you there? Sister Natalie, are you there? I'm not sure if our singer is still there. Oh, yes, she is. Fantastic. Love it, love it. Black men are making love on this platform tonight, sister. And I need to change the frequency a little bit, man. So, sister, I know time is limited, okay?
Yeah.
Can you please show us some feminine love on this platform tonight and drop something for us before we carry on this hard talk?
Of course, of course. So this song is called Sunday Afternoon, and I think it will be quite fitting because it's very much just about the energy of a Sunday afternoon. It's just very chill, very smooth, very relaxing, and it sums up lo-fi music quite nicely as well. So yeah, this is Sunday Afternoon. Let's just slow down. Since we've been here, wondering when you go. Still, I have faith in you here on a Sunday afternoon with you. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. It's a Sunday afternoon, and I'm with you. Let's just slow down and take it in. We don't need to rush around. You have me, I have you now on a Sunday afternoon with you. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba, ba-hee-ya-ya-ya. It's a Sunday afternoon, and I'm with you.
Come on, brothers and sisters. For the time Leroy's clapping, you know you've passed the test. You've passed the damn test. Brothers and sisters, was that not sweet? Was that not sweet? Tonight it's called The Love Factory. Come on, sister. Remind us how we can get your tunes again.
Yes, so you can get my songs. Spotify is a really good way to hear my music. Just type in Natalie May. I released an EP called Blossom, which has all my lo-fi soul songs. I write and upload new music pretty much every week on my Instagram, and my Instagram is Neo Natalie May. I also go live. I do a monthly live stream there with my guitarists, really stripped R&B, soul cover songs, as well as original music. So that's really fun. So, and you can just tune into that from wherever, as long as you've got a mobile phone. So if that resonates and you want to hang out, follow me on Instagram, and it's Neo, N-E-O, Natalie, no H, Neo Natalie May.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Sister Natalie. And as I said, you'll be coming on this platform so many more times. Much respect. Much respect. Okay, Brother Leroy. Thank you very much, sister. Brother Leroy, you heard what Brother David had to say, brother. He said that you was working with our youth before it was fashionable. My king, you know, what is your vision for our black youth? I know Sister Jarita's maybe coming in at any time. She will just jump in and punch us all up, beloved, and get her questions out too. So Jarita, come in anytime you want. But Brother Leroy, what is your vision for our youth today that David was talking about?
Well, I think we recognize that the young people have so much potential, and the factors against them, whether it's institutional racism in the education system or the type of policing they experience, can steal them of their potential. And there is also the issues of dysfunctional role models in our communities that are grooming our youngsters and buying into this false narrative and this disrespect culture they speak of. And we were monitoring that from the late 90s. And that's why we set up it was called the Black Police Association Charitable Trust, which I was, again, a founder member of that. And we then set up the community program, which led to the Young Leaders for Safer Cities program. And that's at BTEC level 2. You know, they actually get UCAS points when they finish that 100-hour program. And I think it's because we've got tutors like David Okora who look like them, who give them a sense of identity and belonging and let them know that they can be the changes they want to see, knowing their rights and the responsibilities. And it's amazing, even when they finish their curriculum, they always come back, you know, for a follow-up to assist each other. And it's that positive peer-to-peer mentoring it also creates, that young people assist each other, because the answers are amongst our young people. And they need to own that narrative, that positive responsibility for their rights can help others, especially when other people are losing their heads. You know, we get our young people to say, listen, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to ensure that whether we get a hard time for the police or other people, we take it very calm. You know, if we can talk our way into a problem, we can talk our way out of it, and you know, don't just react to events. So that has really instilled so much in, as David says, in thousands of young people. And what it says to me is that we've got to do for self. You know, as my parents used to say, who feels it knows it. If you feel it, you know it, you're going to do something about it. And that's why we've been pushing that program for over 20 years now. And we want to expand more, especially we were subject to austerity, just like other public services and funding cuts, but we still survived. The CEO of Voyage, which we rebranded the BPA Charitable Trust to Voyage about 7-8 years ago, the CEO, Paul Anderson, is doing some amazing stuff. And just to say, just link it up with the film and the book, Paul Anderson used to be one of those youngsters when I was a probationary constable in the early 80s. Paul Anderson used to be calling me Judas, and you know, you name it. He used to make it so difficult for me, but I never arrested him. I never bought into this. In fact, I used to turn it around like banter. I would say to them, listen, I can understand your position. I just want you to try and understand what I'm trying to do and the authenticity of that. And that's why years later, in fact, my last operational job was the 2012 Olympic Games. And Paul reached out to me years later and said, listen, I'd really like to work with you. And here we are. He's working with us in Voyage. I'm now a patron. I passed on the chair after many years. I passed it on late last year. So I'm really proud to be a patron and supporting people like David and the other tutors who are doing a phenomenal job. And they are unsung heroes as well. And that's what we need to do, is support our unsung heroes, the ones that quietly go about their business, you know, educate our young people. You know, parents are doing that, guardians, supporters of the community, grassroots organizations. I still work with a lot of them, even in retirement. I work with, you know, Voyage is based in Hackney, so I work with a lot of grassroots organizations in Hackney, Black Men for Change. And just to say, there's a book coming out in November called Black British Lives Matter. That's been edited by Marcus Ryder and Selene Henry. And it's talking about, from different perspectives, you know, Black lawyers, Black architects, Black journalists, Black police officers, and owning that narrative. We cannot allow our history to be distorted. We cannot allow our narrative to be taken away from us. They took away our identity, but we need to reclaim that. And as a result of that, speak truth to power And that's the importance of what we're doing now. And I know that our young people do that on a regular basis. They do it in very creative, entrepreneurial ways. And that's why I'm really pleased to be working with young people, even though I'm the old fuddy-duddy in the corner, but I'm there to support them, leadership from, behind the scenes to say, listen, if you can do it, that, we all take pride in that. There's no envy, no crabs in a barrel. Everyone's just working to make things better, especially with this whole COVID thing. We need to be loving one another and
absolutely
supporting one another, because that we're seeing too many people not only die, but suffering long COVID. And, we need to be supporting our communities. We can't just rely on other people. As I said, we've got to do for self.
Absolutely. Jarita.
I am going to cut right in there. I was waiting for a pause. Evening, sir. Lovely to meet you and to see you. I do have a few questions to put to you. I'll start off with some of the easier ones, I think. The first one that came up is, I guess you said you were from Islington. Whereabouts in Islington? Somebody's like, you might have been neighbours. This was from Africa.
Yeah. Well, I started off a place called Offord Road, and that's just off Liverpool Road. And then we ended up just off Hornsey Road, Corbin Street in the north of the borough. I'm actually still based in North London. So, I'm a long-suffering gooner, so
Oh no, that's it. About half of the people are about to jump off the chat now. Oh god. See the numbers go from about 400 to 2.
No. But the thing is, you have to be honourable to your football team. Anytime you start supporting a team, you got to stick with them through thick and thin. It's just it's quite tough at the moment. Quite tough.
Another quick one, I think. How many years were you in the police force, sir? Please.
Yeah, did 30 years from 1983 to 2013.
Wow.
And so my public service still continues even now. It's in my DNA. So I'm still working as an activist and an advocate.
So I've got a couple more questions which now go a little bit more in depth. So I'm going to, again, try and do what I do best here and try and collate them into sort of one here. I've got one person, this is from Josephine, who has asked, she says she didn't see your film. Was Leroy a police constable who took the oath of allegiance to the people of the UK, or were you a police officer owned by the corporation Freemasons? I don't know if this is a tricky one maybe to answer. But...
Well, no, as I said in my book, I'm a black man who happens to be a cop, not a cop who happens to be black. Because if you're a black man who happens to be a cop, then you integrate into the police service. You don't assimilate and take on the norms and values of the culture. So you can stand up against bad cops, those rogue cops, and you should be encouraging the good cops to challenge the bad cops. So for me, my red lines were very clear, especially as I went up the ranks. I was telling officers, this is what I stand for, ethics and integrity. Please don't compromise yourself or your colleagues. Don't test me, because I don't condone bad behavior with this, police officers or the public. So I was very clear, and my reputation preceded me. So they wouldn't really even test me on that, because they knew where I stood, especially when we set up the Black Police Association and made it clear we were going to make changes.
Mm-hmm. But that obviously took a certain amount of time for you to kind of establish. And one of the next questions I have is from June, who asked, how did you manage to stay so long within the police force, especially when they may have not backed you up? I think she said that she's read your book here, and so there's a point in the book where you talk about not getting that backative. What made you persevere at that point in time?
Well, I think it's the warrior spirit in me. I come from really tenacious Jamaican parents who don't give up. They keep going. And I always said, if I can get through the first 2 years of my probationary constable stage, because I had one of the worst reporting sergeants you could ever think of. In fact, he didn't just hate black people, he hated everyone. you know, whether you're male, female, from Scotland, England, wherever, he was consistently negative about people. And I said, if I can get through that 2 years with him as my reporting sergeant, I can get through the other 28. And I think it's also, but as I start to go up through the ranks and working with people like Brother Andrew and other advocates in the community, you know, Lee Jasper and Peter Herbert and, you know, Sir Herman Housley and Lord Simon Woolley, all these amazing people. I realized we got to get that real strength of character to keep going. So it became easier as the years got on, because we did create fear in the organization that we weren't going to allow road cops to carry on with what they're doing. I'm sad to say that a lot of the road cops are continuing with this stuff, and less positive, you know, good cops are challenging them. But we need to get back to that. And you know, that determination in me has not waned. In fact, the book and the film has energized me even more. In fact, I think I'm more radical now than I was 20 odd years ago. Even though in those days, I was, you know, Brother Andrew will tell you, I was, you know, very radical in my own way, you know, quietly doing it. But you know, I think everyone knows, they can see my history of work over the last 2 or 3 decades, that I haven't changed. I've been consistently saying things of this nature. So I haven't changed, and long may it continue.
Can I just comment on that, Sister Jarita? I'm going to comment on that point. Brother, you know, we're firing questions, and this is what the community would love to see, because, you know, we've seen you, or many of them only know you through the film and now equating themselves with you in the book. But brother, what is your view on this situation here? I'll show you. Are you aware of this sister?
Yeah, of course. I know Robin very well.
Yes. And we know that this sister, well, we believe that this sister was someone who was doing great works within the police force and what have you, okay? And we believe, and I can only say we believe, because I don't know the sister personally myself, that she was being victimized because of her stance within the community. I mean, you're someone who would know much more better than any of us on the street level what the situation is. So, brother, could you just explain your views on how you see this whole situation? Because to me, this was plainly someone who was being victimized because of who she was.
Well, you know, one of the things that I found with the Met and other police services, they are extra critical of Black officers. You have to do less to be found to be guilty of some sort of regulation. And your white counterparts do twice as much.
Absolutely.
and don't even get knowledge. I myself was investigated, you remember? And yeah. I had to show how, the disparities and how they were treating me more critical than their white counterparts over a hotel bill, you know, and how white officers would get away with it. They wouldn't even get words of advice. They wouldn't get a slap on the wrist. And what we found through our research, especially through the Lord Morris inquiry that we had after the Macpherson inquiry, we found that Black officers, especially at the senior ranks, from superintendents upwards, are 4 times more likely to be disciplined than their white counterparts. So, you know, you do all the hard work on merit, get promoted, but then you are on a spotlight, especially if you're challenging and highlighting the faults of the organization. But we're not just pointing the finger and not saying, we got three fingers pointing back at us saying what we're going to do. And you used to bring in solutions, but they don't like to be told when they're wrong. So and that's the thing, because I was the first national chair of the Black Police Association.
Absolutely.
And Robin was my general secretary.
I didn't know that bit. I didn't know that bit.
Yeah. She was my general secretary. It's in the book. So I've worked with Robin. In fact, I met her on the athletics pitch because I used to run 110 hurdles for the Met. And Robin used to run 200 meters for Nottingham. So I know from the late 80s when we used to compete in athletics. So I know her tenacity, I know her strength. And it is quite clear that the way in which she has been dealt with, and that's why they've had to reinstate her. And I know the Met is still fighting even that, because she's been handled disproportionately. And we've seen that with so many other black officers. That's why, you know, the Met Police is still institutional racist, because that's a factor. You know, if you don't treat your diverse personnel right, then you're less equipped to serve the needs of a diverse public. And there's an inextricable link between how the culture and how black and minority ethnic officers survive, and not just survive, but strive and achieve the true potential. Now, if you create a hostile environment and you make it tougher for black officers to even get promoted or to be subject to discipline, then again, you're in the same area of fault as institutional racism. And that's why we're seeing it now. So if there's anyone to say to me, you know, when the commissioner says, Cressida Dick says the Met Police is not institutional racist, well, just look at the disparities of senior black officers. Robin's not the only one. There are other officers who are subject to discipline where their white counterparts are not even looked at.
That's right, brother.
And so, you know, no one can tell me. I've been there. I know exactly how they operate.
You know it. You know.
Absolutely.
So, brother, what would you say then? Because obviously, since you've been on the platform, brother, I've had several people text me as well as put it on the chat line that you need to be the new commissioner. Okay. No, that's not coming from me. That's come from several people in the chat line. They said it's someone like yourself, because if we've got a commissioner, and I can understand if you don't want to answer this next question, if we've got a commissioner that even denies or refuses to actually admit to herself that there is institutional racism in the police force, doesn't she diminish all the work that you've been doing over these decades?
Well, you know, the thing is that it's really disappointing to know how Cressida Dick is dealing with things and denying it. Even how she said that the Stephen Lawrence murder case was not going to be looked at anymore. It was just going to be shelved. That's a kick in the teeth, not only for the Lawrence family, but the wider black community.
The whole of the community.
Absolutely. It's for all of us. And I felt it was a gut punch when I heard that. She didn't have to say it. And the timing couldn't be worse. It was during Black Lives Matter. And,
yes.
and I even tweeted on it. You can look at my Twitter account, Leroy Logan 999.
I remember, Bobby. It hit the media. The media
yeah,
what you said,
you know, and in fact, that Twitter that I said, it's a crazy decision. Channel 4 newscaster Christian Guru-Murphy put that to her, and you could see she was seething. Because you see, the thing is, Cressida Dick, I know her from 20 odd years ago. When she came back to the Met, she started in the Met, she went out, came back as a commander. And she worked with a guy called John Greaves, who was the lead on the Met working against institutional racism, right? So she walked the talk then. But you could see she wasn't being genuine. She's being disingenuous. And you're reading a book. She was the pin-up person to come and talk to me about, you know, agreeing compensation. I said, listen, don't talk to me with that. I'll take you to court. And I remember when you, Brother Andrew, was saying, listen, if you have to go to court, Brother Leroy, we're there for you.
Absolutely.
We'll back you up. You know what I'm saying? So, and so Chris can't come to me with any flim-flam and telling me that the Met Police ain't institutional racist. But in answer to that question, I believe public office is my next calling.
Woo! No, Leroy, you can't just say that quickly and skip it. Brothers and sisters, this is Leroy Logan, MBE Tonight. Sorry, Dr. Leroy Logan, MBE Tonight. Did you hear what he just... This is Hidden Truth. Leroy, say that one more time. David is smiling. I'm smiling. Jarita's smiling. Say that one more time. And what did you mean by that last statement?
Well, put it this way. Public office is still my calling. I'm going to go above the commissioner. So I'm going for Mayor of London. So you can, this is my public statement. So 2024, I'm already working on it. I've got a reference group. I'm looking at this really seriously. I've done a lot of analysis. I've got some really interesting minds. I've got a campaign team already starting to look at this.
Come on!
Because I'm telling you, this book and this film has energized me. Because, you know, the thing is, even if I don't win, the legacy I want to
statement.
The legacy I'm going to set is really going to be moving and shaking so many things, you know, because the amount of things that Crusader Dick is doing, especially since I'm retired, to be quite honest, I don't think she would even try it if I was still in Met.
Woo!
And I'm not being arrogant. I'm not being arrogant because I know that I was able to step up and put them in their place. And this is what needs to be done. So it's on notice, 2024, public service. So I'm relying on you, Brother Andrew.
We're gonna be there.
Because we need to understand that, you know, I'm going as an independent. So I'm not going as a political party. I'm going as a movement, right? I'm not going as, you know, Tory or Labour, because we've already seen that play out. It's a movement of people, and I want us all, you know. And I'm calling on the young brothers and sisters. You know, if you are committed, please go on my Twitter, Leroy Logan 999, or go on my website, LeroyLogan.com, my Instagram, Leroy Logan 99. Please just show your love, show your commitment.
Leroy, yo, brother, I didn't, brother, you are dropping bombs tonight, brother. Brother, straight from Spain. Brother, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna check your tea. Maybe there's something in your tea or something, brother. But brother, you're not holding, brother Daniel Pink, are you still there, King? Because this brother's one of our great brother. Did you hear what our King just said, brother?
Brother, the only thing I can say, can you hear me, brother Andrew?
We can hear you clearly.
The only thing I say is, come on, Leroy, make we turn over London.
Come on.
I'm ready, brother. I'm ready. Because it's full time. It's full time, Leroy. It's full time that we who have experienced what we experience come together and do what's in the best interest of our community, and it will affect the wider community too. And it's our job to do that now. It's our turn. Our parents have suffered for it.
Come on, Daniel.
Us now to make sure we do it.
Come on, Daniel.
Listen, that's my campaign team leader talking, man.
Leroy, I met you once before, and I said to you, brother Leroy, you need to come and train the Black community in policing so we can learn to police ourselves.
Absolutely. In fact, just to say, I'm doing that work with Lee Jasper as we speak, a community enforced policing framework. And it's something that we've been behind the scenes working with the Met. And the amazing thing, every single time Crusader Dick is supposed to meet us, she shies away from it because she knows time's limited for her. I'll be so disappointed if she gets another few years, because she's not in a position to take the leadership of the Met in a way that it needs to.
But Leroy,
she's not the problem.
Leroy, you're used to having powerful enemies, as well as you got people behind you. Your whole life has been a testimony, brother. But brother, do you realize what you've just said just there, brother? Man like Sadiq Khan will be coming for you, Keith. You know,
hey, listen.
That's a gangster.
No, but listen.
Now, brother.
In the book, I know who was my lawyer when I was suing the Met.
Oh gosh, who?
Sadiq Khan.
Stop your noise. Shut the front door.
Read the book, bro. I'm telling
Behave
you,
yourself.
Read the book.
Jurita, Leroy, Jurita, go down to the man's yard. There's something in his tea. Something in his tea there. No, Leroy, we're gonna have to slap you tonight and wake you up, man.
No, it's in the book. It's in the book. Sadiq Khan was my lawyer. Crusader Dick was the go-between to try and take me some tuck-me compensation. I said, and I didn't accept the compensation until all of the civil actions and the employment tribunals were resolved. I said, when you resolve all of them, then you can come back to me. And by that time, they had to come up with some serious dollars. But the thing is, I know these people. That's why Sadiq Khan asked me to be his police advisor in his 2016 campaign.
What?
And then when I helped write the manifesto and I helped to set the agenda for him, which he then won the election, he cut me out. So
no,
it's in the book, bro. It's in the book.
Oh,
but the thing is, I'm a great believer of what goes around comes around. You know, what goes around comes around, and I know that 2024 is a timing season for me, and you know, God's Spirit Life, with the right campaign and the movement of change that we all need to do. The Black community is a silent giant. We need to rise up, and we need the allyship. The allyship. We have to do it together. Because
the poor white people, if they see someone like you stand up, Bob, I'm telling you, they're gonna be backing you too, Bob, because there's an uneasiness and a restlessness amongst the poor whites, man.
Yeah, of course.
If we can tap into that energy too, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Without sending our own principles out. Brother Leroy, we need you back on the show. We've only got about 10 minutes left, okay, King? But brother, we ain't finished yet. We've got about 10 minutes left or so. Brother, you are dropping so many bombs. We're going to organize another show, King. And we're going to bring on some political people with you, brother, that are going to be so powerful. But before, I know Jarita's got so many things that she wants to ask. But hold on, Jarita. Hold on, big woman, man, because Leroy's taking this where I never, ever dreamt that I'll be taking it to that. Brother, we need you to go to Spain a few more times, brother, because, because that Spanish air is doing something to you, brother. So, brother, please, look, brother, you're a man that's been at the top of society, and yet you're still a rebel, brother. I don't understand it. You've met people that only other people dream about. Yeah, brother. And I want to ask you right now, my king. Firstly, how did it feel at this moment? What was going through your mind at this moment? Because this is a great moment, a great moment.
Well, I'm a great believer of, you know, we have a God, we have a great God, and he will put you in corridors of power if you carry out your purpose and you stick with it. And so this moment is very poignant, because you remember my father had been beaten up, and he was sad that not only I was joining the ranks of officers that beat him up, but also I was turning my back on science, which he wanted me to do, even to go into medicine. But it's going in to get the MBE, which a lot of people say, why do you take the MBE? Because, you know, it's the British Empire. For me, I took that to honor their legacy, their sacrifices for me. And I actually dedicate to my parents. In fact, my MBE is pinned to my mother's blouse, now coffin, right? Because she earned that, right? And my dad earned that. And as a result of that, when we walked into Buckingham Palace, that's the time when my father said to me, you did the right thing and joined. That was 17 years after joining in 2000. And if I didn't accept that MBE, I don't know if he would have told me that. And within 2 years of him saying that to me, he had passed away a year after my mum. Yeah.
So sorry, brother.
Yeah, so I got the MBE in 2000. I accepted it on their behalf. And my mother passed away in September 2001. And my father died in September 2002.
So tell us about this situation then, King.
This is when, again, I was a sergeant, and I was doing a lot of youth work, and I was doing the volunteer cadet corps, and it was only the second one in the whole country. And Diana came to the opening of Edmonton Police Station, where the cadet corps was based, and she heard about the work we were doing, and she really wanted to come and see us. And in fact, she was only supposed to stay about 5 minutes, and it's well over half an hour. You know, and I'm talking to her, she's talking to the cadets. And I think, again, the Lord puts you in those positions of power and authority. If you're consistent, if you've got that vision and you're driven by it and you've got the determination not to be derailed by personalities and prejudices, but you keep close to your identity and your belonging. Because as I said, I'm a black man who happens to be a cop, because here I'm in retirement, I'm still black, and I'm more radical than ever. Because
absolutely,
the real thing for me, real recognize real. All these people, they recognize me for who I am, not because of the uniform. And I see that in the streets, in powers of authority, corridors of authority. They recognize me for who I am. You know, I'm a public servant. I'm still advocating. I'm still advising. I am not compromising. You know, and when you've got great people like Jesse Jackson, who I met him a couple of times in the States as well as over here, and you get to know how these people think, and you want to pass that on to your youngsters. And that for me is the key. You've got to give back. We've got to make sure our young people get a springboard of change. And trust me, if all goes well for 2024, we're going to see an involvement of our young people, because when they see role models that come from their neighborhoods and their communities, they will be seeing, listen, violence and involving crime of one form or another is a monk's game. They haven't got time for that. We got to show real tangible support. And that's why, you know, 2024 is so important to me, because I don't want to see any more of our youngsters killing each other. I don't want to see, you know, parents grieving on the TV. It breaks my heart, you know, and I'm doing a lot of stuff with parents who suffer these, you know, fatalities or injuries. We got thousands of youngsters, you know, with life-changing injuries, and they're traumatized. And that's why I'm also bringing in work around trauma-informed policing, because officers are too quick to go into a situation and escalate the whole thing. They need to be able to de-escalate and really recognize where people are being traumatized, and not just slap on the handcuffs with stop and search, and when they have no legal power to do that, and don't believe they can stop and search their way out of a problem or arrest their way out of the problem. They have to work with the community. It's such a going back to basics around what policing is all about. You know, so Robert Peel, when he set up the Met, he said something very, very profound in 1829. He said, the police are the public and the public are the police. You can't do it in isolation. You can't arrest your way out of the problem or stop your search and way out of the problem. You've got to be working with the community. So when they're saying, you know, going to be tough on knife crime, listen, be tough on the cause of the knife crime. Absolutely. And work with the community in that way.
Absolutely. Brother, we've literally running out of time, and I know we still got over 350 odd people, but what I'm going to do, my king, I know Jarita's got a number of questions that we like to run through, okay? And you've got literally 2 minutes max on each question. but yeah, it's a challenge we do to all of our speakers, okay, brother? Because, right, brother, you've set us on fire. We've got people from all over the world. We've got a brother from Trinidad, Simon, who's just said that you've literally stolen his book tonight. Everything that you've stated is all in his book in Trinidad. That is to be released. But we've got a lot of people, okay, brother, that's making so much praises to you, okay? And one of them just stated that you know, your mother and father's looking down on you in pride, beloved, and we want to share that sentiment. But before Jarita comes in, brother, I'm gonna ask you, who is this next person, and what does this person mean to you, brother?
Oh my gosh. Is that my grandson?
Oh, okay.
Is that my grandson? Oh, boy. Listen, you know, this is how, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, you're too black and you only, listen, my grandson is a white European with blue eyes, you know, and yeah, that's my daughter, who's the mother of my grandson. In fact, I was with them yesterday, and we had a lovely meal, you know, and my granddaughter, Naraya, his sister, you know, it just shows that we need the allyship. We need to come together beyond, you know, barriers. We need bridges, you know, that goes against just the linear thinking. We've got to be thinking outside the box. We've got to cross cultures, cross communities. And that's what drives me, because I don't want my grandchildren's generation to go through the same injustices and inequalities as my children's generation, as my generation, and my parents' generation. We need to come against that. And that's what drives me. I want to see my grandchildren's lives totally transformed compared to what has happened in the past. And I know a lot of parents and grandparents are wanting to do the same. So please come on board, get on the website, leroylogan.com. We need to be working together on this. And I know my manager, Juanita Rosinia, she was saying to me, don't drop any bombs in her, because I've got enough work to do.
Brother, we got a sister that's tuned in all the way from Grenada. And she said, great show. I didn't expect Leroy's announcement. So this has now gone worldwide now, brother. So, brother, the challenge starts for you now. 2 minutes per question. Sister Jurita, can you fire away?
Yeah, sure. I'm absolutely shocked myself. I'll say it for everybody else who wasn't expecting that, but at the same time, it's a great thing to hear.
Great announcement.
I will do everything I can possibly to support you when that time comes. So please just let us know what you're doing and when you do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please. First question. Let's start with a little one. Rob has asked, why have you called your book Closing Ranks?
Because I saw, even before I joined the police service, how those officers closed ranks at the expense of truth and justice. And I saw how they was dealing with my father. And that's why when he sued them at court, I went in uniform to support him some years later. And those officers were huddled in a corner. And it resonated with me, what they're trying to plot and plan. And within minutes, the Met agreed to compensate him. And I've seen that theme of how when the Met is seen to be doing wrong, they seem to close ranks and give the perception of they're not being ethical, they're not being honest, and justice and equality are the victims of that. So that's why I call it Closing Ranks.
Thank you. I think he's doing really well there, Andrew.
He's doing great. I think he's been the best one so far.
The next question I have is a mixture from Joan and Angela. Joan says, you must have seen a lot of changes in policing. What has been the greatest change over time? And Angela's question, I guess, follows into that. What advice, therefore, would you give to young Black people wanting to join the police force, bearing in mind what changes you have seen?
Well, I think for me, the jewel in the crown is Voyage. I've seen so many of those young people do some amazing stuff, and some have gone on to do public service as well as private organizations, because I think giving back is so key for me. I mean, I've seen we've done some great investigations. I was involved in the Damilola Taylor investigation, and we weren't just trying to arrest the suspects. We're trying to build bridges with the community and work with young people. And that's why working with Richard Taylor and the Damilola Taylor Trust, again, has been an amazing experience. And I'm still doing that now. But just the answer to the second question, for me, there's no no-go area for activism. You've got to be an active person wherever you believe you have been driven to do, your purpose, where your calling is. And so even now, even though the Met Police has a look and feel of a pre-McPherson era, which is sad for me to say, because of the road cops believing they're untouchable and the good cops are not really holding them to account. I really believe we still need people of all backgrounds and colors and experiences to join the police service. And if they got that calling, they should be supported. Because as I said, you need to have a reflective organization. The Met is far from it. It should be better. But they need people who've got that calling, that determination to make the changes. So trust me, it's essential that activism has a place for everyone.
Wow. Wow. My next question then, and I think I might have time for just 2 more or so. Next question is, so Arlene says, you talk a lot about rogue cops. Are they really rogue or just showing themselves for real when others are silent? And L. Henry then asks, do you think that the Black community should have a national funded Black law organisation to support them? Lawyers, barristers, or I guess even police officers, all areas of law.
Well, I think it's really important that, especially in the Independent Police Complaints Commission, they should have police officers involved. I think they should have legal advocates, legally trained advocates to investigate officers. And I think the more diverse they are, the better. There's less chance of misplaced loyalties and letting officers off. And so I think there's a definite need that, they could actually be a very strong arm of the IPCC. And I've been talking to the IPCC about getting greater diversity in their ranks. In terms of are the most officers rogue? I'd say in my experience, I think most officers join for the right reasons, but they get steeped into the culture, and to fight against that takes a real clarity of mind, a real determination, because knowing my identity, maybe it's that 4 years in Spanish Town gave me a sense of who I really was, and I was not going to betray my own community or any other communities. I wasn't going to buy into norms and values of the culture, and I know it takes a certain amount of mindset. I'm a very determined, tenacious person, and there are many of us like that, but I was suited for that. That warrior spirit in me really got me to stand up and speak truth to power. So, but I think there are more good cops than bad cops. But the good cops have to step up and challenge the bad cops. In a similar way that Derek Chauvin guy choked George Floyd, and that was a lynching. Those 3 other officers, who was 1 standing by and 2 kneeling on his torso and his legs, they are complicit by their silence, and they have not. And to be quite honest, they should be found guilty as well. And that's just an example of how good cops. I wouldn't be surprised those younger officers were reasonable people, but they bought into this misplaced loyalty that Derek Chauvin set the tone that he was going to lynch George Floyd. And that's the time when a good cop should be saying, get off him, pull him off, and not just stand there and act or kneel next to him. And that's how strong the culture can be. When you've got a senior officer who's leading in a way that's it's illegal as far as I'm concerned. And if you're going to allow that to happen, well, you're as guilty as that bad rogue cop.
Of course, yeah, of course. This is my last question, because I know this is time pretty much. And this one's from Miss Honest, YV Honest. She says, do you have a spiritual calling? And I guess my question overall is, what do you think we as a people should be doing next? What's our next step? Is it a spiritual calling? Is it a political calling? Is it something wrapped up in combined? What would be our next steps? And do you think that's your spiritual calling? Well,
as I said, the book is a spiritual journey. For 10 years I was working on it, and when I realized it has to be a spiritual journey was when I started to work with Steve McQueen on the film, and I thought, that's it. And because we are spiritual beings, Black people of African descent are very spiritual people. That's how we were able to withstand the atrocity of slavery. And that's why we're compassionate, loving people still. Because if you've gone through 400 years of that sort of devastating activity on the scale of millions of people, you would think we'd be a lot more bitter and really angry people. And that's why we cannot disentangle the post-slave syndrome. Not to say that we see it as the only reason. It's very complex, but we're a loving people. I think a lot of our loving, just like the love fest that Andrew said that me and David have, because we are spiritual beings, and we recognize that in each other, and we don't apologize for it because the politicians don't do God. We need to do God. We need to do our spiritual gifts, use our spiritual gifts in all that we do, and not just discount it and think, oh, no, there's a time and place. No. I used to use faith in action. And I give an example. When I used to go into meetings with, whether it's a home secretary or the commissioner, I prayed on that ground. I said, that is holy ground.
Wow.
So when I'm going into that room, I'm not just going in there as Leroy Logan with my colleagues.
Come on.
I'm going into a royal priesthood, a holy nation. So I'm going to outnumber you. So whatever you come up with, I'll be able to counteract that. And that faith in action never failed me, not once. And I was able to anticipate what they're going to come up with next. So listen, for me, taking away our spiritual calling is like handcuffing us behind our backs.
Come on.
And we have to break those shackles. Break those shackles.
Come on.
Amen.
Brother Leroy. Jeez. Brother Leroy, there is so much more, brother. You've lit a tinderbox right now, brother. You don't know what you've done tonight, brother. I never saw it going the way that it's gone tonight, and I'm so happy that God's got his hand over all of this, brother. Brother, two things I need you to promise before we finish. And Jurita, you were fantastic putting those questions forward, man, because there are so many questions and so many points being made, brother. But brother, two things I need you to promise. One, we need a part 2 with you on this platform, brother. You
Definitely
have to come back, brother, because this has been phenomenal all over the world. We've got someone from Germany who just said, boy, we're listening in Germany and we're blown by this, brother. But secondly, brother, we want to be able to make links with Voyage and our Young Leaders Academy, a structured link now.
Collaboration.
Yeah, we need to do some collaborative works, and we want to invite you down to be speaking to our people in South London too, and linking up with brothers like Brother Daniel and what have you, okay? So that we can show what unity looks like. We don't have to agree on every single thing about policing, religion, politics, whatever, okay? But we agree on unity and love of our people and the mission. What you've done today, brother, you've tapped into something that has been phenomenal. And I think God has got something really great lined up for you, brother. I mean, your life has been a testimony to us already. But tonight, brother, I think you've taken it onto new levels. And we loved you before you came on the program. But no, brother, you know, I think one of your names is going to be Dr. Love. Because you're no, brother, is that you're producing love all over, man. And I'm sorry, Jurita, but you know, we're gonna keep it real tonight, brother. You've got the blend because the people in the street respect you, revolutionaries respect you. You got the people in society that respects you. You got the police that may not like you, but they definitely respect you. Okay, brother. You got that as aristocracy that respects you. So, brother, God has put you in a position right now that I think. So, brothers, before we kind of round up, please, right now on the platform, show your love, because this brother has dropped more than what we expected. Drop down. What's your views on this brother tonight, brothers and sisters? I don't care where you're from, whether you're coming from the Middle East, the Africa, the Caribbean, Germany, doesn't matter. If you're from London town, show this brother that we respect him so much, because he didn't have to talk that way. We could have just kept it on policing, but the brother took into areas. A spiritual warrior has been manifested tonight. And brother Leroy, I'm looking at the chat room. I can see, when you see the ones, Leroy, the ones, ones represent God force. They see the God in you. That's what number 1 represents, brother. So when you see a whole lot of ones, okay, they're saying that they're seeing the God inside of you, brother. Sister Camilla says, another excellent presentation. Sister Brenda says, Yebo Sani Banani, sorry about that. Sister Sylvia says they can't stop or prevent one from praying. Sister Aquasi says Black European Police Association is necessary. Was that you, Jurita? Oh, sorry, I thought Jurita said something. Sister Glasmin says excellent session, so on point. And so, I mean, I can't read out all the comments, brother, but you have absolutely blown.
Listen, Brother Andrew, I just want to say, listen, when you called me, literally just landed, I knew exactly that I had to be on this phone with you, because I know the work you're doing. Even my manager, Juanita Rosinia, she knows you. You know, her mother used to work with you. So you're a legend in her household as well. And she's based in Lewisham as well. So listen, I'm already connected in South London. So we're gonna do this, you know.
We're gonna do this.
This is not a coincidence. This is a God incidence, and let's work it.
Come on, my big brother. Brothers and sisters, you heard it directly from the man himself. Yeah, the man who risked everything to fight racism. Daniel, 30 seconds, King. What's your last words? 30 seconds.
Brother, let us all go forward together in the spirit of love. It's our time. Let's do the right thing and let us all rise together. All
Brother
for one and one for all.
Bless up, Daniel. Brother
Strength
David,
in unity.
Brother David, 30 seconds, King. What's your last words?
Yeah, for me, Leroy spelt out a number of important things and important values that we must embody as a people. Number one is service. It's something that we teach our young people to give back to their communities, to serve their communities. Leadership is about serving your community and giving back. And also, when it comes to supporting our young people and organizations who work with our young people, if not us, then who? Who are we waiting for to do this work? It's our responsibility to support our young people and the organizations who work with them. And finally, from me, it's about unity. And it's also about the village. And we always talk about it takes a village to raise a child. But one of the things that we do at Westside and also in Lewisham and with Voyage, we show the village in action, not just talking, in action. Ashe.
Ashe, ashe, ashe.
Yes.
Someone's just posted this. They've just witnessed tonight the movement of Jar people. Rob Neal, who I know very well, love Rob Neal, phenomenal brother. He says, out of many, one people. Michelle Cunningham has just stated, we are great, powerful spiritual beings. It's our time that we all united together. Sister, I'll pronounce the word, but Eulalie, I think it is Chambers, says, Leroy, your campaign has started tonight. Michelle has stated, I'm voting for Logan in 2024, and so on and so on and so on. So Leroy, we thank you so much. You know, this is the brother David. We bow to you too, brother Daniel. We know you're the king of all pressure groups, brother, and we need to duplicate this, not just for the schools, but from tonight, we need to duplicate your kind of pressure group for Leroy all over London. Let's make some major movements. Don't forget, brothers and sisters, we're opening a brand new academy in Lewisham. We're going to be having an open day online this coming Thursday, the 26th of August at 7 p.m. where Ubuntu comes together. Lewisham Education Group comes together. Lewisham Black Parents come together, and Westside Young Leaders Academy. See, you're seeing the movement of Jar people tonight. There's unity. Where we, in the past, we all argued because we didn't agree on everything. Now, you're seeing what Leroy's been speaking about. His hard works have not gone in vain because the same spirit is now been moving across London. Brothers and sisters, don't forget, if you want to support us, not just in words, but in finances, please go to our Barclays Bank's account, whereby you can support Westside Young Leaders Academy as we multiply academies all over London. We've got an east side, we've got a west side, now we've got a Lewisham side, and we've got a Milton Keynes side. So we are growing now, brothers and sisters. You're witnessing a revolution before your very eyes. Okay.
Can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing? And because I just want to say, before you big up Natalie, she was amazing. But listen, I want us to really think about our young people, how we have to collaborate with them. So, you know, with Voyage and the other collaboration is so essential. We got to get this right, because we need to fill the void that's been left by public austerity cuts. So you've got to, just like the school scheme, when they fill the void of the exclusions and the you know, the special needs and all these things that they used to bring to divert us, and we got to, and we have to do it to reduce the exclusions, because exclusions is what is the pipeline to the criminal justice system. When a child is excluded, you might as well put the date when they're going to prison. You might as well put the date when they're going to prison, or they're going to care, because we need to fill the void that's been left by austerity, right? Because, and we'd only do that collaboration. And let me just end with this final thing. My paperback is coming out on the 17th of September. You know, it's going to be an in-person event, but unfortunately, it's already oversubscribed. But we'll be live streaming, so you can get the details on my website, and I'll be passing on to you, Brother Andrew. You know, just to ensure that we get as many people, because we'll be talking about these same issues, you know, in a bit more depth. And I'm definitely coming back. So absolutely. I know where you live, so don't let me come and find you.
Brother, we're going to hold you to those words, King. On a serious note, we're going to hold you to those words. Brother says, let's thank Sister Natalie May, as Brother said, of angelic voice. We want to make her a star in the UK, and I actually want to make sure she becomes #1, at least in the soul charts. Phenomenal sister. We'll be coming back again and again and again. Don't forget, Brother says, next week's show, we are going to literally be smashing up, remembering the riots of 1958, Notting Hill, and the Black Resistance Movement. Leroy doesn't know this, but he's a part of this presentation next week. He doesn't know it, but we can't talk about the UK and the Black Resistance without talking about his legendary work within the Black Police Association. So next week, I'm telling you now, we've got over 400 people already registered for this event. So next week, I know it's going to be a sellout. It's going to be way over 500, 600, 700 people next week. And that's going to be a one-off event, As I said, so if you're not registered, get on my website, get onto my Hidden Truth, register now, or go on to Black History Walks and register there. But it will be a sellout next week, brothers and sisters. I'm warning you now. Also, don't forget, we're going to be in Birmingham on the 4th of September. We love to do what Leroy has again talked about, collaboration. Hidden Truth platform here. We're going to be collaborating with the Hidden Science platform, and we're going to be doing an event called the UK's #1 Black Hair Science event. We're going to be talking about the science of black hair. And so, brothers and sisters, again, hundreds of tickets have already been sold, and we've got a coach leaving from Victoria to Birmingham. Also, we've locked down a hotel, so if you want to make a weekend of the event, we've got a hotel locked down, so you can have a whole weekend on the Hidden Truth and the Hidden Science in Birmingham. We are not playing. It's time to take big strides in our works now. So, brothers and sisters, for those of you that want to get involved and join my WhatsApp group or my Telegram group, please text me on 07863 543 785. Brothers, we've gone over time, but guess what? We've got over 350 people still on the platform, even though we've gone over time. That's how great Leroy has been tonight. I know many of you are shell-bound right now. Sit down, maybe have a little drink, meditate on some of his words, because he dropped some bombs on us tonight. And I know, even though we've gone over time, we've still got over 320, 30 people still on the platform. So I'm going to greet you in the greeting words of peace. I'm looking forward to seeing many of you on Thursday on our open day, but I'm going to greet you in the greeting words of peace in one of our original tongues, which is Arabic. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, or peace to the gods on earth, or ashay, or peace be unto you. Stay strong. Remember, you're not black because you're cursed. You're black because you're first.
Absolutely.